happy Thanksgiving. Happy late Thanksgiving. I didn't post on Sunday, but with family, you gotta do the family thing all week and the weekend. But before we get into anything, hey, I want to say let's hit that like, that subscribe, and that bell to get all my future videos. And on top of all that, I just want to say I appreciate all y'all for subscribing, for stopping by, checking out my videos. And some of y'all's comments, man, just so damn heartwarming. It's crazy, man. I From the bottom of my heart, like, I love y'all. I got love for each and every one of y'all that just even take the time to watch a second of the video. Even if you've already clicked off by now, I still love you. But let's get right into it. Today we got, is abortion murder? This is something that I don't really know too much about the whole logistics and everything. So, like, right now at the beginning of this video, I would guess I'll say I'm pro-choice, but I know there's a lot of gray area in there. So, less enough talking. But as always, we don't wear the crown while we work. We don't wear the crown while we work. Let's get it.
Is the end goal here that abortion be illegal and it be criminalized and removed as a resource forever from this country? Is that the
illegal and unthinkable?
Illegal and unthinkable,
Yes.
so it is criminalized and stigmatized.
See, we're gonna wait before I start pausing because I got a feeling I'm gonna pause a lot because I got a lot to say and I got a lot of questions.
If you agree, step forward. If you disagree, stay put. Nobody likes abortions.
I can't say
I don't think anyone
nobody.
likes it. I think they use it, and they might use it incorrectly from my perspective.
I agree with him.
But I don't think anyone likes an abortion. Like, they're not
Okay.
like jumping for joy for it.
Yeah.
I think it
That's
is
where
a
I'm
very physically taxing process to go through, and I don't think anyone would want to intentionally have an abortion. I think those who get an abortion, most of the time, it's because they need to.
It's a harmful narrative on both sides of the conversation.
I'm with them on this. I would say nobody likes why would you like getting an abortion? So I'm completely 100% with them on this. This is something that nobody likes abortions.
Then to say that,
I
women
wanna know
celebrate
y'all thoughts.
abortion,
Like,
I think
anytime
it
I answer a
creates a
question, y'all
prejudice
answer a
around
question, too.
women who do get abortions. And I don't think that it's good to kind of minimize the decision of abortion from either side, from either perspective. So,
Can the disagreeer step forward?
I really want to know what they got to say. Because right now, again, nobody likes abortions.
I think if you asked me this question maybe several years ago, I would have said nobody likes abortion. But I think in today's climate, it is much more celebrated. As a pro-life person, I've had people tell me that they will dedicate their next abortion to me. Instead of helping women, they will have an abortion.
I've heard very similar responses to you. Things like, I'll donate to Planned Parenthood in your name. And there's other pages like Shout Your Abortion that openly celebrates abortion rights.
Yeah, I celebrate abortion, and I think that campaigns like Shout Your Abortion aren't about like getting in your face, but women who choose to have abortions suffer a lot of stigma and trauma from people who stand outside clinics and have grotesque images and literally, damning your soul. Abortion as a medical procedure and resource is something that I do celebrate. It's a human right, and I love abortion.
I missed that because I thought I heard somebody at the door. Sorry about that.
You're not ready.
But, like, I agree with whatever they're saying. I just don't agree with how they're coming to the conclusion and say people like abortions. No, people hate you. They don't necessarily like abortions. They just hate that you're outside, protesting and stuff. I don't think it's that they like abortion. They more hate you.
My name is Rocky. I use she, her pronouns. I'm from Austin,
not you,
Texas,
but
and
the
I am
opposite side.
very pro-abortion. I think that legislation like SB 8 opens the door and the path towards...
SB 8 took effect on September 1st, 2021. It is the first time a state successfully imposed a 6-week abortion ban since Roe v. Wade and the first abortion restriction to rely on enforcement by private individuals through civil lawsuits. I don't even know what that means.
Handing over
If you do,
our
let me
bodily
know.
autonomy to the state.
Explain it
I
to
don't
me, stupid
understand
terms.
how anyone can justify using their personal beliefs to take away the rights of others.
I agree with it.
My name's Abby. I'm from Orlando, Florida, and I'm an abolitionist of human abortion. We have to ask the question of what makes humans valuable. So because my worldview as a Christian gives me a foundation for human worth, and because I believe scientifically fetuses are human beings from the moment of conception, I am against abortion.
Biological fathers should have an equal say in abortions.
I mean, this is one that I'm, because I have kid. I have a kid, and I have one of my own that's my flesh and blood, and I have 2 stepkids. And if my son's mama wanted to abort him, and then I had no say so in that at all, I would be fucked up about that. I love my kid, but who's to say, like, it's different for everybody, because you might have that girl who got R word and she wants to get rid of it, but her R wordist wants to keep it. Like, should he have rights to that? I don't think so. Like, it's so much gray area in all this. So much. I want to know what y'all think about this one specifically. If you watch this far, let me know what you think about that. Should the fathers have equal, say so in it? See, I'm kind of like him. Like, the good fathers, I would say yes, but then the bad fathers, I would say no. But then you can't just say that in law, right? Because he might not even R word, or he might just be a piece of shit. But then he wants to keep the baby and not do anything for it. Like, kind of. That's so much gray area in this. Like, the father in me wants to say yes, they should, but
Well, I
then
think so.
just
I mean,
knowing
it's
how
consistency.
other
Like,
men
if we're
are
defining that as a life,
makes me want to say
if it
no.
is life, to put a kid up for adoption, both parents have to agree.
I agree. I have talked to lots of women who've had abortions, and I've talked to lots of men who are hurting. They're completely heartbroken. They would have raised the baby. They wanted to raise the baby. They begged for the life of the baby.
See that right there?
They obviously created the baby together, but only one of them gets to decide if their child gets to live or die.
I would like to say, from more of a honestly feminist perspective, men have responsibility as the other parent of that child. Ironically enough, a lot of the times when pro-choice people put the focus completely on the woman, they strip the man of all his parental rights and responsibilities. And I think that's why actually a lot of men who are pro-choice because they don't want to have those fatherly responsibilities that they will have once the child is born.
See, that's not what I thought pro-choice was. Well, I didn't even really think about that during pro-choice, because I was thinking more pro-choice was, I was just thinking about the woman, really. See, I didn't even think about that part of it. I'm so in the middle on all this that I agree with both sides, with what they're saying, most of it. So far.
I want to know why.
And we're on a 4-minute thing. This is a fucking 30-minute video. I hope y'all like this video, because we're going to sit here and we're going to do this.
Because I strongly feel like a man should not have control over what a woman does with her body. I more so have an issue with when a man doesn't actually want that baby. She wants it and then expects this man to like be the ultimate provider and child care and all this extra stuff, right?
About it the other way,
but in the case of if the man wanted it, the baby, and the woman didn't want it, he has no say so. I think that's a fucked up dynamic. So that's why I was going back and forth.
But you should stay then. It sounds like you're for men having more rights.
I just can't force a woman to be like, no, you have to do this, because I think it's fucked up. It's her body.
But it's also a child's life in there. It's not just her body; it's a child's
And
life.
it's
in there.
also your son or daughter. I think truly, in my eyes,
Right,
it's
I'm
like
so
it's my
middle road.
body. I get to do what I want with it, and I don't think anyone, including the other person who's involved, should have a say whether I want to keep it or whether I want to get an abortion.
I do not agree with her. She is so far left or right. I don't even know. She's so far one way that it upsets me that she just thinks she had sex with somebody. This is all assuming that this is consensual sex. They have consensual sex, and the guy wants it, and he just has no say so in it. Like, you could give the baby to him if he really wanted it. I mean, or So I just don't like people that are too far one way. Like, you gotta take common sense into this, or just logical thinking to be like, it's all logical thinking. It's not black and white, and it'll never be black and white.
My name is Asher, currently reside in Las Vegas, and I'm for pro-abortion. I used to be against abortion until an unwanted pregnancy happened to me. If you know for a fact that you're not even gonna be the best parent for that child, or you can't provide for that child.
Whoa, see, I don't agree with what he's saying here either. When my son was born, I wasn't in the best situation. I wasn't. We was broke, but luckily we had family to help us get there. I knew I would at that point. I knew I wasn't gonna be in the best situation to raise a child. But you know what? I did my fucking best. I'm telling you, when you have a kid and you see that baby for the fucking first time, it changes you. It makes you want to do better for them. It's not just about you anymore. It's about that child. And I guess some people don't have that feeling, but when I first saw him, I was like, I gotta do better. I went to school. I flipped jobs because it was just all temp work. But shit, now I'm doing my thing. I'm good. I'm better than most right now, and I contribute or attribute that to him. Without him, I don't know if I would have had that drive to go back to school and to do better and to just want to better my life because of somebody like that love, that love, and still today, we have he's third. Well, he'll be 13 in December, but it's just that. We argue. We're going to argue, but I wouldn't take nothing from him. I mean, I wouldn't take nothing for him, and I love him to death. Wouldn't let nobody hurt him. So that I don't agree with what he just said. And if he had the baby, he would probably feel different too. But he's not a parent, so he don't know. So I don't blame him for that. That's probably I probably thought the same way before, before I became a parent.
Or maybe you're just fearful.
Let me know what y'all think about that. I mean, what I just said. If y'all are parents, did your kid make you want to do better? Just period. Not necessarily better here, but just better in general. So you could uplift their life. Give them something better than you had, or exactly what you had. Just
And don't want to pop a child out of you, or just whatever reason that you have. I feel like you shouldn't have to go through with that. You still have that choice over your life, your body.
I keep seeing all these guys use
As
this
always,
soap, and
we ain't got YouTube Prime. We're gonna watch all these days.
I
Back to
have
it.
had an abortion.
I knew she had an abortion. I knew it. Because she's talking. She's so far that way to where it's an experience for her, and then I can accept her experience. I don't necessarily have to agree with her way of thinking, but I agree that like she can have it. If she wants an abortion, she can have it. But I don't her far one side. I don't know left or right. I don't know. I don't fuck with that. But far one way thinking, she had some kind of experience with it. I knew she did.
A few months ago, I found out that I was pregnant. When I imagined myself,
I mean, looking at. I'm sorry, never judge a book by its cover. But she has a princess shirt on, and she's dressed like a little girl. Like, I would say an abortion probably is the best thing for her. Or maybe it would not. It made her grow up. But just looking at her, it looks like she's not mature enough to be making adult decisions.
finding out I was
And I'm
pregnant
sorry,
for
if
the
you
first
don't agree with
time,
me, say fuck
I
me.
wanted it to be celebrated. And in that moment, I felt such severe anxiety. And having that, I felt like the entire time I was just in a lot of emotional pain, grieving. I was debating about myself, about how I would be looked at or how I would view myself after getting the procedure done.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm nervous. So I'm gonna be real careful with my words. Clearly, as a man, I can't have an abortion. But my girlfriend, we've had 2 abortions.
Damn.
She didn't really want to have a baby. I didn't really want to have a baby. And I know for me, I don't want to be seen as that deadbeat father person, but I knew I wasn't really trying to sacrifice my own dreams or what I was trying to accomplish to be a dad at that point.
I would say my kid made my dreams happen, you know, because I was working on my feet all day, got them feet hurting, and now I'm doing pretty good. Feet ain't hurting no more, if you know the feet ain't hurting no more.
I think that's definitely like one of the biggest things to consider because I wasn't in any kind of position to.
But I respect their decision. It seemed like him and his girl came to that decision, and I respect it. And I respect this lady's decision to not, if you don't want, like, if you know for a fact that you can't take that baby, and if you're going to treat it bad, you know, there's nothing worse than you seeing little fucking innocent kids get beat on and just, you know, and all M word and R word and all that shit. Like, I think I'd rather have that kid aborted than to have a life like that, you know? So, you know, I agree with their decisions. You know, it's their decision. Who am I to, like he said earlier, who am I to say a woman can't do with what's inside her body? You know, who am I to tell her no? You know,
to be a mother, you know? So it's like, I want to get my shit together before I can have a baby and give it a life that.
I would say barely many people have their shit together when they have a baby. You know, I didn't. That's just my experience, and I know a lot of young parents that didn't.
That it deserves. When I found out I was pregnant, the person that I was with at the time, they were like, I will support you in every way, but I will not be able to be there for you if you decide to keep it.
See?
And that definitely
respect it.
influenced my choice. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever
bet.
had to make. I like to think I'm a pretty generous, like loving person, and the names that I've been called for even getting one, I've gotten evil, psychotic, demented.
Because people are fucking crazy, man. Anything they don't
My
like,
name
they
is
just
Christine.
automatically
I'm from
evil.
Denver, and I am on the anti-abortion side. So when I was 20 years old, I was a college student, and I found myself in an unplanned pregnancy, and I was pressured to abort very heavily, not only by my child's father, but by those around me. And I heard my son's heartbeat, and there was no debate. It was a life. His life was not mine to take. This is part of why I am very pro-life, because I know many women are pressured to abort when they don't want to.
Can they disagree or step forward?
There's just not much I don't
Your
agree with.
story is absolutely powerful, and your story as well. I think something we probably all can agree on is abortion usually is a symptom of a bigger problem, whether it's finances, whether it's stability of housing, whether it's relationship issues. My perspective is that we address those issues instead of ending the life of a child.
Disagree. I don't think that abortion is a symptom. People should be able to access abortion when, how, wherever they want or need. I don't think that it's a problem to be fixed. I think that is still stigmatizing.
I don't agree with her at all. I'm not liking this woman. Because if it's not some kind of problem, even if that, oh shit, sorry. Even if that issue is just plainly not wanting a baby, that is something, you know, that is something leading you to abortion. You know, like, she might be a quack.
But I think the biggest thing is that there are birth control methods out there, and abortion should not be a birth control method. I think that's very critical. And to hear that, you know, you weren't celebrated, I think life should be celebrated with everybody.
I'd like to call attention to that point too, just the fact of using abortion as birth control. I thank you for everyone sharing their stories so far. I didn't step forward, I haven't had an abortion myself, but I am a survivor of rape. I was on birth control at the time, and I still made the decision with my medical team that birth control is not 100% effective, and I wanted access to emergency contraceptive to take on top of that. And had that pregnancy or any of those methods failed, I would have chosen to have an abortion, and I'm very grateful that I had access to those resources, and I'm so mindful that there's so many women who don't.
Well, I think
I'm not sure she answered the question. She just stated a fact. She didn't say upon that. Like, she just stated a fact. And I respect her fact because I was talking about that earlier. Like, if you're an R word, if you got R worded, fuck. I couldn't imagine the shit that you would, like, just the shit that going on in your head. And you got a baby on top of that? Like, I know a lot of kids have been born through R word, which is fucking terrible. But I couldn't imagine what goes through that woman's head. Just you might love. Well, I'm sure a lot of them do love the kid, but I'm sure a lot of them have like mixed thoughts about that. Just seeing your R wordist every day, like that's tough. That's tough. That's why I'm just like, I'm not gonna tell a woman what to do with her body. I can't. I won't. That's not something that I will ever agree with. That saying. Telling her what she has to do. That's her body. I don't know her experience. That's just what it is.
it gets down to the heart of the issue here. What is the unborn? Which scientifically the embryo is from conception, a living whole organism with distinct DNA. As a Christian, I come from a worldview that says that every human being has dignity and worth.
Not to disrespect any religion in general, but in my eyes, that's just pushing a belief onto someone.
I agree 100% with her. 100. Let me get that shit off the screen. 100% with her.
Rather than actually stating a real concrete fact.
So scientifically, I'm pro-life because of science, not because of religion. But scientifically, I believe that life does start at conception. I don't think it makes sense to put life beginning at any other place during pregnancy. Doing so usually ends up saying that an already born person isn't alive, such as consciousness, heartbeat, etc. There are many pro-life people here from the science perspective who are not led by religious motives at all or partially.
Which, as usual, we're going to watch all
Let me ask you a
these.
question. Have you ever thought
We ain't paying
about
for
the
YouTube
blood
Prime.
flow? Redwood uses
Get
just
your
a
little
few
redwood.
simple, completely.
Let's get back to it.
I am Ayala. I'm 18 years old. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I am anti-abortion. One misconception that I deal with pretty frequently is that we're all Christian, white, old men, and as a Jewish woman, younger, I really want more voices like mine.
I never really thought as the anti-abortion people as older white men. I always thought it was middle-aged white women. That's mostly what I see. I mean, tell me what y'all see. If you're still in this far, hey, I thank you.
To be seen in the anti-abortion.
Hey, if you're this far, you might as well go on. Hey, you might as well go on and drop. Hey, drop me a like, subscribe, and hit that bell.
Movement because I think we have new perspectives that would help kind of bridge the gap and have us find a little bit of middle ground between our two opposing sides.
Abortion is murder.
Of course they're all gonna come, but I don't fucking know. Like, that's the thing.
I think it is murder. I think
I wouldn't. I don't know.
for the abortionist more so than the woman. I think a lot of women don't necessarily know exactly how an abortion procedure is formed. I've had a girl even tell me that at 20 weeks the baby is just a clump of cells, and that's just not true.
Fucking,
I do believe now there might be cases where some women might be unaware of what's going on in an abortion. But by and large, I think, especially with the advent of the internet and so much education out there, many of them do know that there's a life inside of them, and they want to end that life, whether they call it murder or not.
Hard disagree. Absolutely disagree.
Okay.
I've definitely met a lot of teenage girls who grew up in our generation who believe that abortion is normal, a fetus is a clump of cells, and there is no human life in the womb. They don't tell you when you go in for an abortion consultation, this is a child and this is a human life, and that's what's going to be happening. I have a hard time believing that if most women knew they were killing a child, they would do that. I don't think women in America are that malevolent. I think it's very irresponsible and very hurtful to say, oh, this woman's a murderer because she had an abortion.
I agree with her. Like,
At least my personal experience, the people who worked there were very understanding. They let me know there is a child that could come out of you in 9 months. Are you sure you want to do this? I knew there was a child in my body. I knew I could have a child in 9 months, and I knew that child.
Whoa. So, I mean, whoa. I just now thought about what she said. If you don't think when you're pregnant that there's a child inside of you? Should you really be having sex? If you don't think that, like, what the fuck? That seems like a cop-out. That right there seems like a cop-out. You know. I don't know
Child
about
can
that
grow
one.
old and be their own person. But I made that choice because I am allowed to have that choice, and especially you are a white man, you are not
Don't
allowed to
start
say
that
what I
shit,
can do with
man.
my body, nor any of these other women who are able to carry a child.
I think that's so
Even-
dangerous. I think that's so dangerous to
would
say
you
that you
point out
can't
that?
say
I don't
because
like
of your
that.
sexuality, who you are as a male or female, or how you believe as a religion, you can't define what's right and wrong. I think that's misguided,
You can
and we
have your
shouldn't
own
take that into
opinion.
policy.
I think what she's
If it's a
saying is
child,
that
you should
whatever
have that right.
your morality is, I think that, you know, folks are entitled, that we have freedom of religion, we have freedom from religion. Whatever your moral value is, the issue is trying to turn that into legislation and putting it on someone
Legislatively,
else.
we legislate what's right and wrong all the time.
Thinking even medically,
That's true.
like for Indigenous women, they're 2 times as likely to die from pregnancy-related complications. Who's
Well, that's because there's fucking racists out there. And they will, I
responsible
wanna
for
get
that
started on
murder
that one.
if she's forced to carry that baby?
Well, I would be all for working on legislation altogether where, you know, if the woman's been taken advantage of, or if they've incest situations, or if her life's at risk, we can keep those options on the table.
So all of a sudden, because she could potentially die, we'll make legislation where she can't abort that baby, and all of a sudden you're pro-abortion?
No, I'm not pro-abortion. I personally would not like her to choose that option. I think science
So
has
you'd
come.
prefer that she die, though,
No.
right?
I think science has come a long way where that's vastly not the case anymore within our medical
put words in his
community.
mouth. He's
And we need to
actually
continue to
speaking pretty
increase
good, the white
funding
dude.
for those mechanisms to provide more research on how to keep the woman alive in those situations.
What is the end goal here, that abortion be illegal and it be criminalized and removed as a resource forever from this country? Is that the
Illegal and unthinkable.
illegal and unthinkable? So it is
agree
culturally.
with that.
Culturally, for women, we want women to have resources, first of all, to where they don't need an abortion, and then abortion for the abortionist is criminalized. So an abortionist could go to jail for performing it. Women should not be criminalized because at the end of the day, women are victims of abortion as well.
I don't
My
necessarily
name is
agree with
Sebastian
that.
King, and I am anti-abortion side. My mom had an unplanned pregnancy because she was taken advantage of from the time she was 12
Fuck.
to 15. And she was in and out of state custody, and a judge even encouraged her to have an abortion and told my mom that she won't amount to anything in life if she goes through with this pregnancy. Because she chose life. That's the only reason I'm here today, and that's my mission, is to ensure that all life is protected.
See, and that's why he's weird, because fucking personal experiences. You can't take away from people's personal experiences. His mama, he is a product of our word. And he wouldn't be here without that, you know? So no matter, I don't know. You know, it's you can't take away from people's personal experiences is what I'm saying. Like, one girl was R-worded and she didn't have a baby, and his mama was R-worded, and he is a product of that. Bro, there's so much fucking gray area. It's not just yes or no. It's not black and white. It's not black and white. It never will be.
Abortion should be accessible to rape and incest survivors.
I agree 1,000% on that.
If you're pregnant from your brother or your cousin or your father, especially if it wasn't consensual, or even if it was, you should still have that option to abort the baby. And especially if you've been raped, there are some people who have that thought, like, oh my God, like, what if when I look at my child, I relive that trauma?
Yeah.
And not saying that's how all rape victims
That's
view
rough.
it, but it's just like
I couldn't.
some women have that fear.
I couldn't imagine that, bro. That's fucking crazy.
Okay, so I was raped for 4 years of
Fuck.
my life,
What the
violently,
fuck?
More times than I can count. And I did get pregnant when I was 15. My rapist threatened me with abortion multiple times. Used that as a tool to keep me in his power. He
There's
had the
some
power
sick
to terminate
motherfuckers out
evidence.
there.
He had power against me. I did end up losing her, but I wanted her very badly. I named her Rahel, which is Rachel in English. And I think it's very important to humanize people who are conceived in rape because they're walking around right now.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, and I think it's very insulting to place that on a human being. I think that humans, no matter how they are conceived, are human beings, and they deserve to be respected, and their lives deserve to be respected.
And I agree because that's me. I agree 100%. And my mom has always told me she doesn't view me as even on my birth certificate, he's not my father. So.
Also, I want to tap on what you said, though, because you said you really wanted to keep your daughter. And although you don't, see it as the rape baby and stuff, other people who also go through that traumatic experience may actually see it like that, right? You wanted that, but there's other people that had their a choice taken away from them. They shouldn't be shamed at going through this and even having to live through that experience of the rape baby.
Here's the thing.
I agree.
When you get an abortion as a reaction to rape, you are continuing the cycle of violence. So you were raped, that was a violent experience that happened to you, that wasn't your fault. You're hurt, you've been victimized. Why is it fair to further victimize someone else because you are hurt?
But you're seeing it as a someone though, man. I'm putting myself in a woman's shoes or a human being's shoes, right? You take my choice away. You rape me. And for all you know, I might be a struggling human being, right? Making $8 an hour or something like that. Crazy bills. I might be living in my car. I might be sleeping in the dumpster behind McDonald's. But now because of your opinion, right, and my traumatic experience, I get shamed because I don't want to bring this life into the world, bro. Oh, but you should give birth and then put it in foster care if you don't want it, bro.
I want to touch on that too, just for a second. Like for trauma, I think absolutely what I am passionate about is giving people the choice. And for you thought a lot about your choice and you wanted that pregnancy. And I'm really sorry that you lost that child. And I also thought a lot about, for myself, when I went through that experience, what choice would be best for me. And for me, that was not carrying the child. And I think trauma is such an interesting thing. For me, not having control over a child growing inside of me and changing my fate of my life, that would be more traumatic than the initial experience. We don't know how people are going to react, but I do fight and would want them to have the choice to do what's best for them.
Here's how you can instantly brush and whiten your teeth. This U.S. Army dentist built a device to...
I think a strange misconception that people have about people who are pro-abortion is that we don't have respect for life or we don't care about children. That's absolutely not true. I respect life very much. Unfortunately, I've also seen a lot of negative aspects of our systems in the U.S., like the foster care system. It's out of that respect that I believe people should have the right.
I was just reading something the other day where kids were being fucking abused in foster care, even by their, by their adopted parents, and I'm just all about people having a choice to do what they think is best for them, because I just keep going back to the R word thing. Like, if you were R word and you got pregnant, like that girl, some people wanted to keep the baby. That's your choice, and I agree with it. But then other women, like, just having to sit there and think about that, I'm pregnant with the guy who took advantage of me. Like, what kind of... That's got to be some mental gymnastics right there going in your brain, and I couldn't imagine it. Could not imagine it.
To choose an abortion.
That's why.
America offers resources to help you raise a child.
Well, they definitely do. Everybody should be over there because that shit's so fucking true.
There's tax benefits to having children. I think there was also, in the latest round of COVID money, there was funding for women who've had children.
Yeah, and there are so many Christian charities and so many different organizations that want to help women, and the resources are there.
Also, government resources. There are government resources that help you take care of children. Are there enough? That is a different question.
I was basically just agreeing with what you said, because Section 8, food stamps, free health care, school programs and whatnot. Like, there are resources. Are there enough?
That's how my mom survived when she had me, because of government assistance. So that's the only way she made it, because of that.
Yep.
I have.
How they're not over there right now? That's stupid.
A pregnant teenager, and I've also been a teenage mother on welfare.
Then you got assistance.
Unemployed. The number of resources that are available state to state is something that is
That is, then she should have had her ass up. She actually had the fucking resources. This is why you can't trust people that are too far to one side. They'll sit there and tell you what the fuck you just said, and then be like, nope, that does not exist. She just said she was on welfare. That is some resource. It wasn't if it was enough resources or if it was the right resources. Is there resources? Yes, she had them, but she did not come over there because she's too fucking far one way. And that shit's stupid.
Atrocious. But what it comes down to is a lot of time and energy. The choice between, do I go to work and get the money to pay rent, or do I go and I sit in the office, or do I go to this nonprofit who's requiring me to fill out this application and come to a meeting in the daytime when I'm supposed to be working?
So you see it kind of like a job, like you're clocking in to fill in paperwork and you're receiving your check.
It is. Low.
Oh, goddamn. If you're getting something for just existing, why wouldn't you be grateful that, like, that's all you had to do was fucking sign it? You didn't have to go fucking, lift 10 bricks over your fucking head. Like, she is saying, she says she got him, and then she explained how the fuck she got him and why she didn't like it. That's why she didn't come over. I don't like that. I do not like that at all. I don't agree with what the fuck she's thinking. I want to hear the other girl's thoughts. Because she's saying she got resources. She's telling us how to get the resources, but she doesn't, but there aren't resources. Doesn't make sense.
Resources and creating these sort of impossible hurdles and more barriers for people who are already experiencing them to overcome to get the help is not a help at all.
That is
And I
help.
feel like a completely separate conversation is.
And then I would agree. And then, I don't agree with fuck her. No, don't fuck her, but I'm not too happy with her. But they give the resources to the laziest motherfuckers. Because if you're out here trying to do better with your life, they won't give it to you. You got to actually sit on your fucking ass and stay at home before you get any kind of resources. And that's the dumbest fucking shit ever. They don't want to give it to people that's actually trying. Because if you let's say you make $8 an hour. No, you make too much for welfare, too much for WIC, too much for food stamps. You can't get that. But let you sit on your fucking ass all day and not even try to get a job, they'll give you all the shit in the fucking world. That's stupid. But that does not mean that resources are not there.
It is extremely hard to be a single mother who is also a woman or person of color and to get resources. Especially Black women, they are notoriously, even in that room where they're giving birth, they aren't taken seriously.
Well, I just want to say one thing because I think it's important. So I might not look it, but I'm Native American, have my Cherokee card and everything. We have universal health care in the Indian community. And when she went to have me as a child, they told her in that universal health care system that she's not allowed to have pain medicine because that's a luxury. So she got it through government assistance. So that's a big deal that the United States is more for the Native American community.
I'm glad we're discussing.
No, I'm not saying that's acceptable. I'm not saying that's acceptable, but I'm saying like
it exists.
It exists. That story exists.
But there are literal reservations out there that do not have water, do not have electricity, do not have internet. That is in 2021. Are those not resources to raise a child?
So let's
Why
address
is the government
that instead of killing the baby.
To say that
That's right.
the question is, does the government provide resources?
Yes,
No.
they do.
Does America provide resources? No.
Enough resources? To some people
ask
maybe
me
not.
all the time,
But
Chris, if
what
you could
she
only
just
take
said,
one supplement
she
for the
pointed
rest
out
of
the
your
resources
life,
they
which
didn't
one
have, but
would
she
it
didn't
be?
say nothing about the
The
resources.
answer is
they
easy.
did. See, I don't
Abortions
like people that are too far
will
away.
continue to happen regardless of the law.
Yes. Of course they are.
All right, well.
That ain't never gonna change.
I think, of course, they'll continue to happen. A law doesn't mean that something is not going to happen at all anymore, just like rape, just like murder, just like anything else we've outlawed. Just because they're still going to happen doesn't make it right.
But if you criminalize doctors and abortion providers, right, that means we no longer have providers. That means abortion is no longer an option. And that by default, the way that this country, and especially my state, legislates will mean, and it has happened, we have precedent, a woman who tries to self-induce or who tries other non-medical methods to have an abortion can and has been criminalized. What is the policy that doesn't just absolutely take away the right that people have to access an abortion, regardless of what their
Control their own body.
beliefs are.
If that child is a human being deserving of the right to life, then yes, it should be criminalized, just like murder of 2-year-olds and 5-year-olds and adults is criminalized, right?
But that's so different though. You got people that's 2 years old, already out the womb. They've been here for years, right? And then you got these cells.
Can I ask you something?
Go ahead.
When does it stop being a clump of cells?
Personally, I'm not worried about the clump of cells.
Decades of medical research has
understand.
not been
What
able
are
to
you
land
question?
on that
And
answer.
I'm trying to answer your question. As far
So
as
do
the
you
cells,
believe that abortion should be allowed all 9 months of
I hate
pregnancy?
when
I do feel that's a bit more extreme. So I will agree on that aspect.
But why is it more extreme?
Wait, but let's not
Exactly,
act like women are just deciding to get abortions at like during their 2nd or 3rd trimester. And the women who are doing it, it's either that they're going to die giving birth or it's under some medical.
Yeah, I mean,
medical circumstances.
I wouldn't imagine a lot of women wait to their 2nd or 3rd trimester and be like, "Nah, I don't want this." A lot of them say as soon as they find out they're pregnant, that's when they want to go get rid of the baby. You know, like so. But one thing that I did find out is that there are after birth abortions. Now I think that should be fucking illegal. If the baby's born, just give it away. You know, but and like even in the 3rd, if you're in the 3rd trimester, bro, see, it's so much great, but I can't. I'm just one man. I can't tell that a woman what to do with her body. You know, that's what I keep coming back to. I can't tell somebody else what to do with their body. Like I wouldn't want somebody coming up here and telling me you need to cut off your dick because you know, blah blah blah. No. So
Because no, I doubt, even myself, I doubt that I would get to a 6-month, 7-month mark and then decide, oh, actually, I don't want to make this commitment. I feel like there's a lot of this conversation, like when does it become wrong? When it's, but like as if we're actually going to get an abortion at that time.
I agree with her.
A lot of the what pro-life people would consider hostile pro-choice comments and things like that are a response to hostile pro-life people. And I think that doesn't get talked about on our side because we don't like to fight each other. But I think it's an important point because I've seen absolutely disgraceful comments made towards women who are going into clinics, you know, who are obviously in a very traumatizing situation, and you don't know what that woman is going through, and they're shouting obscenities at her. And that's appalling. And I think that we need to take responsibility as pro-life people to understand they've experienced so much hurt from our side of the community.
And I agree with that. I think, but from our side of the aisle, folks are very passionate because they believe that's a life. They believe that's a baby, and they want to do everything they can to save that child. But I agree that our rhetoric needs to be there as a resource and another option, and we can do that peacefully and respectfully as well.
I think on any side of any controversial issue, you're always going to have those extremists. Same thing on the pro-abortion side. People are always going to have feelings, and people are always going to fight on that level, right? But I think it's about coming up here and saying, like, what actually makes common sense, and how do we come up with policy that doesn't force folks to live by other people's values.
I agree. That might be the smartest thing she said. You know, and I didn't think they were gonna get on here and just argue because that's not what they're gonna do there. But I agree with most of what was said, except for that one part about the resources. How can you say there's not resources? There might not be the right resources. There might not be enough resources. You might not be able to get them the right way, but there are resources. But, you know, I got a lot of thoughts. I mean, if you're still around here, let's talk about it in the comments. I'll read every comment. I'll respond to the comments that are just not too far one way, you know, like, not too, I don't respond to the really, really negative comments, but every other comment I'll respond to. I'll like it, I'll heart it. And let's have a conversation about this, and, you know, hit that like, that subscribe, and that bell so we can continue to do this. This is one of my longer videos, and I want y'all to just remember, that's it. Just remember.